Hi, everyone. This is Mihaela with Hey Stella Podcast, episode 42. And I always try to link what's happening in real life, in reality, with some creative project. And the first thing that comes to mind, breaking news leaked from the Supreme Court, was the abortion becoming illegal in many of the states in the United States. One more time, abortion will not be a right that women have in America. One more time, abortion, no matter the circumstances, will not be the right of women to choose if they want it or if they don't want it. This is yet to be confirmed, but the leak that came out 2 days ago from the Supreme Court, it says exactly that. And what do you think comes to my mind when something like this appears on television, on a television set in New York, in America? What do you think comes to mind? Romania. Back in Romania during the Ceausescu dictatorship, did you see what I did? I made a mistake in the way that I pronounced the name. And what I'm doing is I'm stopping for a second. I don't have to say that I'm acknowledging that I made a mistake, but I'm correcting myself. So the audience is not confused to why I'm not doing that. Abortions in America will not be allowed as liberty, as freedom for women to choose depending on their personal situation. 50 years after the law became the law of the land, 50 years almost, 1973, I believe it was, when women in this country, in this free country, had the opportunity to choose depending on their circumstances that could be, someone could have been raped, someone could have been too young or too naive to understand, to protect herself from becoming pregnant and then having no choice but to keep the baby. 2022, United States of America. Half of the states are going to tell women what to do with their bodies. How is that okay? How is that okay? Can somebody tell me how that's okay? Because I don't get it. What was the first movie that became very celebrated after the revolution in Romania that happened in 1989? Before that time, Romania being a communist country and abortion was illegal. How is that not going to take me back to my childhood, to my youth being lived in Romania when abortions were illegal? Are we going forward or are we going backwards? I think what really comes to me is more and more, as someone who understands communism and someone who understands dictatorship, because I lived it before my parents, my father, to be more exact, decided that he wanted to leave all that to come to a free country such as America. And now they are reversing the law that's been in place in this country for 49 years. And they are not giving women the right to choose what they want to do with their bodies, what they want to do if they are molested, what they want to do if they are, God help us all, raped. They cannot decide what they want to do with that situation, with that decision. The lawmakers are the ones who are telling them, who are telling us what to do. The film that comes to mind is 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. Romanian film that came out, I believe it was in 2007. So it was some time after the communist regime collapsed, the revolution happened, people took to the streets. They didn't want any of the suppression. They didn't want any of the oppression anymore. People wanted to have liberty and freedom. So they took to the streets and the revolution took place. The duo of the dictators, Ceausescu and his wife, Elena Ceausescu, were shot. I remember it was before Christmas, I believe. They were placed against the wall and they were shot after having a mock trial before the holidays. And Romania became a democracy. Romania became a country that became free, where elections were dependent on the citizens of the country, where abortion became legal and it became a right of women to choose what they want to do with their body. The film, 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, don't remember everything about it, but I do remember that it was such a shock when it came out to the Western world, because it was a film that was set in the communist era, and it was about a student who became pregnant. She decided that she did not want to keep the pregnancy and she wanted to have an abortion. But as abortions were not legal in Romania, she had to go through the back alleys. She had to depend on somebody who, due to the fact that they wanted to make money, they said they were going to be able to give her just that. I remember to this day, there was an image where she was in some sort of an apartment and the procedure took place outside of a safe environment, and there was the fetus that was laying on the floor. This is when everybody was shocked by it. This is when the movie came out, and after being nominated and receiving all the much deserved awards at the Cannes Film Festival, I believe, and so many others, people, the Western world was so revolted by the fact that those situations were happening during the 40 years of communist regime in Romania. And now Romania is advancing. They allow abortions to be the choice of women, but here they're going back into the dark ages. Not only are they going back into the dark ages, into the era, the same era of the communist regime, of the dictatorship in America, with taking away the freedoms of women to choose if they wanna, what they wanna do with their bodies. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine what's gonna happen to the people who are going to be in situations where they cannot afford to fly to another state? Some of the states, because they have their local laws still standing, are going to still have legal abortions. But who knows how long that's going to take? If the Supreme Court is going into this direction with taking these rights, what other rights are they going to take? What other rights of our human rights are they going to take from us if this is the first one that they're taking on and approaching? I think it's so sad. I never thought that I was going to have to bring the movie, the Romanian movie that was made, and it was considered to be such a horror due to the subject matter in the communist era. And I was going to have to link it to something that's happening in America right now, because that's going to be the picture that I'm going to have for the episode. It's going to be the communist regime in America, communist era in America, and then the picture of the poster of the 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days of that film that revolted everybody. Of course, it revolted the people who are pro-life, the ones who say that when you get pregnant, you don't have the right to take a human life. But you know what's so crazy about that? Those people who believe that that's the case, they're the ones that don't have to worry about going through back alleys. They don't have to worry about getting in the bathroom of their own house themselves with clothes hangers and trying to abort the baby because they don't want it. Do you know why? Because they have the money. They have the money to fly to other countries. They have the money. They have the resources to be able to still get a safe medical abortion if they want to. So this law is again going to affect the people who do not have those opportunities, who do not have the financial status. So it's not going to affect everybody. It's still going to affect those people who are less fortunate, those people who have less opportunities in life to be able to still do it in a way that they're not going to risk their lives in who knows where, because they have no means to keep the baby, or because the father, or because the man who violated them physically, sexually, was a rapist. What is going on? What is going on? Why was this not being seen from before? Why was this not being seen by the Democrats, who I thought were supposed to be smarter than they are? They allowed the Republicans to have created this path for themselves to get to this point, because something like this doesn't happen overnight. This is something that they have created for themselves. This is something that they built for themselves, so they can come to this point where they have 5 conservative judges on the Supreme Court. And the Democrats are all talks, and they come on television and they talk about all of the things they're going to do, but they never respond in a way that they should respond directly to what is happening with the other side. This is not about me taking one side. This is not about me being political, because I don't know enough about politics to be able to speak about it. But I can speak about it from the point of view of a woman and of a creator who remembers what it was like. Personally, I know what it's like to not have the legal right to choose. I'm not ready to get into that more personally. I'm not there yet. But it just makes me so sad to think of those women out there who are not going to have the means and are going to have to make the decision to find someone, to find a way themselves that's going to put them in danger. That's all everybody's talking about. And I like that the Democrats now are coming out and they're so surprised. Oh, this is incredible. How could this happen? This is so unreal. This is so crazy. Well, it's a little bit too late for you to be surprised, and it's a little bit too late for you to be shocked, because I think you should have been smart enough, if you are one of the elected people by the people to such a powerful position in the Congress, in the Senate, to know what is coming and to prepare for it. You can't just all the time be shocked of the outcome of something when you did nothing to try to stop it, and you did not create a path for yourself the same way that the other side created a path for themselves to come against it. And then you wonder why the country is more supportive of the Republicans, because they do things. They do them, they put them in practice. It's the same with acting. I cannot talk about theoretical acting for 25 hours and then have somebody get up and do what I've talked about. You have to put it in practice. You have to demonstrate it. It's a practical art, because living is practical. It's experiencing. It's viscerally taking it on. It's not blah, 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 blah. And even with the blah, blah, blah in the messaging, they don't even know how to tell a story. They don't know how to tell a story to affect people who are watching, the voters, to get them on their side as if they were performers, the same way that the Republicans understand that that's what works. And they've been doing it, and they're doing it. And the Democrats are staying with the old tactic. or stay with the old tactic when there's like new rules and regulations and new outcomes that are dangerous, but I'm going to stay with the old tactic, the one that I know from before that doesn't apply to anything, but that's the only one that I know, because I'm not going to give myself the opportunity to say the world in which we live today has changed, and I have to be open to changes. I have to be open to learnings, how to address the changes in the world. You can't stay in the old tactic with the old maneuver to maneuver something that's coming at you and it's completely a new way of doing things. You have to say, let me learn. How can I learn how to address this? How can I learn how to do the same thing that the Republicans know how to do? How are they doing it? They're just coming out with the numbers. Oh, the Republican that was supported by Trump, he's the one that's leading. So it still seems like Trump is the king whose ring you must kiss, or he's the whatever you want to call him. I don't even know the name of they're making reference to the mafia. But if you're seeing that happening and then you're not doing anything about yourself to improve and to come and combat with something new, that which they're actually giving you, you're going to keep losing and losing and losing and losing. So don't come on television afterwards and then be surprised by why you're losing. You're losing because you are closed, you're narrow-minded, and you think you know everything when none of us know everything. Admit what you don't know, because the more you know you don't know, the more there is to know. The next thing that's still having to do with the same kind of I know it all because my position is top position. I'm only concerned about my gaining power as an individual, because you know what, like one of the Republican representative said that when he was being asked about why is this happening in America, why are the Republicans so going after having individual power, and he said because it's attractive. Power, having power is attractive. And I feel that countries like Romania, you know, my home country, which I am so proud that that's where I come from, but people who had to live in conditions that were not free at all times, we have become, I think, more street smart. We have become more understanding of what could be. In America, people had not so many worries, in my opinion. This is only my opinion. Nobody has to agree with me. I feel the naivete of the people here is being manipulated really well by politicians. And I think the politicians who are recognizing that storytelling and performance at a level of knowing how to do it, not bad propaganda, but recognizing the elements of what performance does, it has the power to grab an audience and to make the audience believe. If you believe as the performer, then the audience believes. So if you're going to speak to them and believing that abortion should not be the right of women in the United States of America, and you come up with your own justifications to make you even be able to sleep at night knowing that you did that, you convince yourself of it, then you convince the audience. The Democrats are not even trying to do that. They're standing back and they're kind of saying, well, let's just continue to do what we've been doing for 49 years, 50 years, when the law of the land, which gives the women the decision-making of wanting to end the pregnancy or to keep a pregnancy, we'll just talk about it in the same way that we talked about it before social media happened, before storytelling became even more important than it was ever before. We're just going to talk, and we're not going to do a performance in the sense of speaking the truth. Speaking the truth is what performance is, the truth of the situation in which you're in. You have to make yourself believe it. You have to become passionate about it. And then you have to transmit that to the audience for the audience to want to come on board with you. You can't just talk. You can't just speak lines as an actor, because if you only speak lines as an actor, nobody's going to go watch you, because the audience could stay at home and read the same lines if you're just reading them. They need those lines to be transformed into your experience of them and how you process them and what side are you on and what is it that you want from the audience to get. What is it that you want to give the audience? What is it that you want from your partner, the one that you're playing with, the one that you're playing against? Politicians have to do the same thing. So Democrats, stop being stupid. Somebody said that on TV the other day because he was so upset that this is actually happening. And what he was saying is, did you not see this coming, Democrats? You should have if you did not. Because if you're that stupid to not have seen this coming, then you shouldn't be in those powerful positions. Let somebody else who would have seen it coming. Just feeling like everything is going backwards instead of going forward. I mean, you would think technology, future, but our minds and the way that we think, majority of the people think, especially in America, that's what's happening. Everything is going backwards. No matter how much you want to pretend that the America of today is the America of 25 years ago, that's not it. And you can't just pretend that. You have to become aware of where America is and where the American people are. And you have to realize that more Americans are believing and are going for the Republicans and for what they stand for. So think about that. Don't just take a poll that's showing you that there's 1% of the Democratic part of America that's against something that the Republicans are for, and take that as a successful victory. There's no victory. It's a 1% or it's a 2%. It's nothing. Majority of the people are okay with what the Republicans stand for. Majority of the people praise immigrants staying out of America. Majority of the people don't want to wear masks to protect themselves and other people because it is something that the medical community came with, and it just happened that one of the doctors that came out of that is Dr. Fauci, who happens to be a Democrat. So of course they're going to make him to be into a crazy person who says one thing one day about the masks and then he says another thing about the masks, only because medicine is not something that you can concretely, certainly be sure of. So as he was trying to go through what was happening with this pandemic, that was something new, the coronavirus, that was something new that everybody was dealing with, so was he as the medical doctor. But because he didn't know how to present it, he didn't know how to present it in a way that made people sure about what he was saying, because he's a Democrat and he doesn't understand that even as a medical doctor, you have to understand performance. You have to understand public speaking. You have to understand how to do the preparation before you come in front of the audiences and tell them something. All this confusion, one day, yes, you have to wear the mask. The next day, well, you can take the mask off when you're in a restaurant and the food comes, which doesn't make any sense, because why would the virus know not to affect you when you take the mask off because you're having a drink or food, but the rest of the time you have to keep it on? I mean, these justifications are not sufficiently detailed by someone like Dr. Fauci, by some other medical people. So you're giving the other side, who's waiting for you to make these general statements without being specific about it. You're playing into their tune. You're playing into their whatever they want to then turn around and make you seem to be. You don't know what you're talking about, Dr. Fauci. Who's to believe you if you keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? It's because the Republicans know. The Republicans know how to present their point of view, and they stand by it. They're not afraid to be arrogant. They're not afraid to be bold about it. They're not afraid to create controversy. They're not afraid to create conflict. The Democrats are still holding back. We got to be the people of politeness. We got to be the people who are holding back because we're taking the high ground. Taking the high ground is not working anymore. Have you not seen? Are you not aware of that? Taking the high ground. Who are you taking the high ground with? If somebody comes and punches you below the, how do you say it in boxing? Below the belt? What are you going to do? You're going to retract and you're going to say, I'm so sorry that you hit me. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing. Again, I'm apologizing for something I didn't do. But because that's my conditioning of a human over the 40 years of my life since I was a little child. So yeah, I mean, God, who would have thought that I was going to have to mention the movie dealing with the subject of horror from the communist era, 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, now in 2022 in America, and put them in the same photograph to present in my episode of Hey Stella. Who would have thought? How? When people were watching this movie, I remember it came out in America and everybody was watching it. And then when they found out that I am from Romania and I came from Romania, they couldn't believe that that's what was happening during the communist regime. They were so in shock about everything, so in shock. And I'm like, why are they so in shock? Are they so naive to understanding that that's what it means to be without freedom? And nowadays, majority of the people, and this is not just in America, this is happening in European countries. I mean, look what's happening in Ukraine. How would you not have seen this happening to prevent it? Do you know why? It's because you keep giving permission to the people who are doing bad things. You keep putting those under the rug. You keep saying this is only a little thing. We're not going to get involved because it's not our place to get involved. Let's just swipe that under the rug. And then that means for that person, well, that means that I can do more. I'm going to keep doing more. I'm going to keep doing more because there were no consequences. In a play or in a movie, as a character, you have to suffer the consequences. The same way that you have to earn that which is what you want. You even have to earn the lines of the character. If you think that the lines of the character as an actor are to be learned and memorized as the first thing that you do, then you're really mistaken about what it's like to be an actor. They have to be earned. The lines of a human being that you are portraying have to be earned. And what I mean by that, you have to do all the work, all the script analysis. You have to do all the backstory of your character. You have to do all the beat by beat understanding and analysis of what happens between you and the other characters. You have to understand what your immediate goal objective is. You have to understand the overall goal. And then how do you obtain the small ones in order to get to the big one? This requires for you to open your mind as a human being to a script that might not be something that you have experienced as a human being in your real life. But the reason why I keep saying that actors are trained so much more profoundly than any other professionals in the world is because of that, because it is requiring of you to say, I don't know the situation. I haven't experienced it, but let me open myself up to first saying, I don't know. Ellen Burstyn, the great actress, the legendary Ellen Burstyn says, the territory that you want to be in as an artist, therefore as a human, is to be okay in the I don't know, because only then you will be able to absorb and understand other experiences, other countries, other cultures, by doing that work, by leaving yourself open to not knowing and asking questions about this new situation, the new experience that you're being asked to portray with this character. Why aren't people required to do the same thing in everyday life? Why aren't they? Why aren't they required to do the same thing in everyday life? But the actors are. No, because they know it all. They think they know everything. They don't have to learn. They don't have to learn. No, I don't have to learn anything. I'm smart enough. I got my position. I'm the boss of Netflix. I'm the CEO. I'm the director of unscripted and scripted content of Netflix. And I'm not going to listen to somebody who's a nobody to come up with I'm not breathing because I'm going too crazy now, so I have to hold back a little bit. I'm not going to listen to a new idea. I'm not going to listen to an original story that someone might have just because they're not yet at the level of success that they're at. They look down upon those people and they don't believe that they might have something that is actually going to help their company that they work for. Nobody's watching Netflix anymore. Why isn't anybody watching Netflix anymore? Because they're showing the same thing over and over and over again. New versions of the originals that were done, new versions of the same thing. Everything that you watch, you already know the outcome of. Very few things that are worth watching. But majority of the things they watch, they're the same. They're sameness. They're static. Just like the Democrats are. They're static. They're not risk taking. They're not putting themselves in situations where they have to take a risk, and the risk could be that the story that they are considering from somebody who's not a famous person might be a success, but at the same time might fail. But if it's going to be a success, it might change everything. It might help people. It might do some good disrupting. Controversy is a good thing. Controversy is a good thing for as long as the person who is behind the developing of a story knows that the goal is to be disruptive in a way that will inform our global audience that we are more alike than we are different. Instead of allowing these political divisions to take place, because nobody from the entertainment business is taking on that risk. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. What does a visionary do? What's a visionary? It doesn't matter that you're in the arts. It doesn't matter that you're in computers. It doesn't matter that you're in. A visionary is someone who already sees what the audience needs without even the audience knowing that they need it. That's a visionary. Well, they have all these static minds and static people in the same positions for so long. And then they wonder why they're losing subscribers. They're wondering why they're losing billions of dollars. Well, why do you wonder? Why are you shocked? A person is shocked only when he's or she's stupid enough not to have seen something coming. If you are stupid enough not to have seen something coming, is because you don't know. You're not supposed to be in the position that you are in. So let somebody else do it. Or surround yourself with a group of people that might know something that you don't. Collaborative work, collaboration. Again, who does collaboration? Actors do, artists do, directors have to become involved, writers have to become involved, acting coaches have to become involved. Now I found out there's intimacy coaches, choreographers, producers. Everything about acting and everything about movie making and theater making teaches us how to be better at life, yet nobody understands to make the connection. They won't make the connection. They still are, oh, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming. If you are a character in a play or in a movie and you don't see something coming, then you are going to get what you deserve. Then if you don't see it coming and it hits you in the gut, the same way that everybody's phrasing what's happening right now with the making abortions illegal in I don't know how many states, it's a hit, it's a punch in the gut. Then you have to deal with the punch in the gut, but you can't just stay back and say, well, I just got punched in the gut. That's what I feel like. Pause. Without questioning. Okay, I didn't do what I should have done at the time that I should have done it. Let me try it now to make it better. Let me try now to understand why this happened. Let me open this up to people who might have expertise in different subjects that I don't know about, instead of staying within the same kind of trajectory. Another smart idea that smart people came up with, CNN Plus. I don't know if anybody, but I'm sure CNN is all over the world and everybody knows what CNN is. So they have CNN. They get rid of the people. I'm talking about Chris Cuomo, who was one that was getting the most ratings when he was on CNN doing his show, Cuomo Prime Time, I believe it was. And then it was found out that because his governor brother he was going through some accusations of assaulting women sexually, verbally, and I'm not saying that's something to be, no, that's wrong. That's really, 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 really wrong. You do not do that, no matter what position you're in. It doesn't matter, because yeah, I've experienced something like that many years ago, and maybe one of the episodes I'm going to talk about it, but I did something about it. I did something about it in my way, even though I had fear that the person I was going to go against was so much more powerful than I was. But I knew because I had characters that I was lucky to play teach me to not let the fear take over. So I went and I fought, not only for what I needed to fight for because it had to do with me, but I knew that if I were to speak up and to go after these powerful people, other women might not have to go through the same sinister situations that I went through. So when you're fighting for something, when you're going to do better, you're not just doing better for yourself, you're doing better for other people. So don't be selfish. It's one thing to be selfish when you know that the selfishness is necessary to go after what you want because you will provide something that will help another person. Chris Cuomo, he got let go from CNN because he was trying to help his brother to get past or to try to come out on the right side with this sexual accusation, which I think it was horrible for him to do. I think the whole situation was horrible. But what I'm saying, why is it that Democrats were completely taken out? But if you go to the other side and you think about the Republicans who did that, they're still keeping their positions. I'm asking the questions. Where's the fairness? What is happening in one situation that's pretty much the same as the other situation, but the political sides are different? That makes no sense to me. That hypocrisy, that's what doesn't make sense to me. When you are talking about being sexually, verbally abusive towards anybody, get them out, but do it on all fronts. Don't do it just with the people who are the Democrats again, because they think, oh, we must do what's right. We must do what's right. We must show the world our integrity and our dignity. And that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. But the ones that you consider to have no integrity and no morality, they are the ones that are being voted in. Do you understand that? There's more people out there in the world who are voting with those people that you might consider have no integrity or no dignity or morality. So don't you have to analyze that? Don't you have to analyze that and continue on and having that now as something that you analyze and look at, You can still keep your dignity and integrity, but you can change the tactic around it. You can change the language around it. You can change the message around it, and you can make it a more direct, bold message to let your people, your audiences understand the truth of what is happening. You're staying somewhere in the middle. And this takes me to the, filmmakers and directors who say acting for film has to be moderate. It has to be realistic. When I hear that, I just want to start banging onto something. Acting for film has to be moderate. Who the heck is a moderate behavior comportment as a human being? You're portraying human beings. Acting for film, you can go as big as you want for film as you do for theater. It's the same for both, for as long as you sustain it with the passion of wanting to achieve a goal. If you want to achieve a goal, if I'm going to want to save someone that I love in my life, it doesn't matter that I'm on a film set playing that character who wants to save someone from something, but I know I'm the only one that can save that person that I love. You're going to tell me to be moderate in my behavior because that's acting for film? No, I'm going to do whatever it takes in whatever way I need to do it in order to save the person. So if I'm personalizing that with somebody from my life that I need to save, who's to say what I'm going to do and how I'm going to act? So those directors who don't understand acting, give the freedom to actors to be bold and to be big. You learn for yourself how to direct them, because that's the problem again, is the directors who are afraid. One of the best kept secret in everywhere in Hollywood, all the way in Hollywood, is that directors are afraid to work with actors because they don't know how. They don't know how to guide them to get from them what they want. So they tell them, be real, be real. What's real? It's a general understanding that nobody can figure out how to then take it on and put it into their behavior. Tell them what they are fighting for. Do the specific work that it's required of actors. You have to do it also as a director. And you also have to go to put yourself through the acting process workshops to be able to understand how to do it. Some directors out there do it because they know they never get to an age that they know everything. They always have to learn more. We always have to learn more, because when we get to the point where we think we know everything, that means that we're dead. Who the heck wants to be dead? I don't want to be dead yet. Whew, this was like passion. This was passion. This was not anger. So many people mistake my speaking loud of, oh, you're so angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. But even if I were angry, it's okay. I have the right to be angry. But this was passion. I'm passionate. So going back to the CNN, I took off, I veered off. But CNN, they decided they were going to come with a streaming CNN Plus, and they're going to have a streaming platform that's going to be on for 24 hours. They were making so much. Oh my God, they were talking about it all the time, and they were promoting it. And as I was watching it from here, and I was actually telling Jeremy, I was like, do you see the shows they're going to have? Do you see the shows they're going to have on CNN Plus? You know what they're going to be? They're going to be the same people that they already have 2 hours on. So if those two people already have their shows on the regular CNN where people don't have to pay for, and the ratings are bad, the same one that Cuomo was on, and after he left, the ratings went even worse. You're not smart enough to deduce that if you now do not have the ratings that they have over at Fox on the opposite channel, that's the conservative Republican channel, if you do not understand why, and if you're not watching to see why those people are getting their numbers and are getting their audiences, and you're still saying, let's continue CNN, even though it doesn't have any ratings, nobody's watching it, or not as many people as they're watching Fox, are watching it, but I'll do one that's going to be 24 hours on, and I'll keep the same people who are getting no ratings, and we'll just have more of them. Who the heck wants to watch that? Like, who was the smart brain behind this idea? And of course, it was a disaster. Nobody was watching it, and it was shut off after 2 weeks. And then everybody's shocked. Oh, again, they're shocked. Oh my God, I'm so shocked. I don't understand why this happened. Why did this happen? Oh my God, I did not see it coming. You did not see it coming because you are not wanting to see things, because you're keeping your eyes closed and you're keeping your vision narrow. Open it up. Open it up. Give chances to other people who might just surprise you and who might just make you better in your position, because they will give you something that people are going to want to listen to and watch. The audiences will be packing up. They will want to see something that's new. They will want to learn something that they know nothing about. They will want to see somebody whom they've never seen. New faces, new passions, new blood. Why don't you give that a try? Then work with something that's not working. Do a double of that because it might work. Can you tell me where that makes sense? In what world that makes sense? I'm not a business mind, but even in my creative working brain only, most of the time, I would have been able to say, no, that's not going to work. And I did say that's not going to work. Thank God for Stanley Tucci on CNN. Searching for Italy, that's a show you have to see. The second season just began. Stanley Tucci's ratings are out of this world, and everybody's wondering why. Why? He's taking on risks of revealing who he is as a person because he knows how to do that, because he's an actor. He's a great actor. So he knows how to do it even in a reality show that has to do with food. He has to do with Italy because he's part Italian. So he doesn't speak Italian perfectly, but guess what? He will speak it on the show. If you were somebody else, if you weren't an actor doing it, that person would have said, well, I'm not going to show my weakness. I'm not going to show the fact that I don't speak Italian well. I'm just going to keep it to English because that's the first language that I know. No, he said, let me show people that I'm trying. I'm trying to speak Italian. There's no shame in not knowing how to speak something perfectly. The shame is in not trying. The shame is in not having the willingness to try, which is already winning for acting, which is already what it means to win as a human being. The willingness to try and not pretend that you're perfect and not show the vulnerabilities that you have, the flaws that you have. We all have flaws. We all have vulnerabilities. We all have things to learn for the rest of our lives. Why are we hiding that? Stupid people are hiding that. And they just happen to be in the powerful positions. I don't know how that happens, that they get there, but they do. Take a look at what's happening in this world. The world is changing. The world is changing. President Zelensky, actor. Trump, reality show star. Dr. Oz, running for political position, had a show on television. Everyone who is able to gain an audience have some sort of a background in storytelling. That's how you grab people now. That's how you create a following in the people that you're trying and you're asking to vote for you. People need to be moved. People need to be understood. People need to have something to identify with when watching. It's not enough that you just talk lines. The same way that it's not enough that an actor says lines and they have no subtext to what the lines mean. And they have not discovered or tried to ask a million of questions to what happens in between those lines. Why are they being said? It's all about storytelling in every situation, in every field nowadays, because there's so much distraction. There's so many things that are happening. We have everything at our fingertips. Acting tips at your fingertips. That's going to be my new motto. Acting tips at fingertips. I started using it. I like that because it's fingertips. Here you come on and you turn on and you go to Hey Stella podcast and you can listen to the full episode or go to my YouTube channel, which I'm still trying to get an audience and I don't know how. But I'm not giving up. Guess what? I'm not giving up. I could have very well said, you know what, this is not working. I'm not embarrassed to say I have not enough people watching as I thought I was going to have or listen to the podcast. But guess what? That doesn't mean that I'm going to give up. Am I still alive? I'm still here, this moment in the present. As long as I'm here, I'm still going to fight for what I know is going to change one person. If it's one person only, that's plenty. Thank you so much. I'm discovering filters that I'm using now. So the more that I do this, the better I look, which I'm liking. Thank you so much, you guys. Go to Hey Stella Podcast. That's on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and to my YouTube channel, Acting Tips at Fingertips. Thank you.